This is Algebra 1, test number 4 through section 2.1 study guide. Number 1 says, which number line model can you use to simplify -2 plus 2? Well, first off, you begin at -2, so that's going to cancel out this one because that's beginning at +2. Same with this one right here, +2, so it's going to be A or C. It says -2, so we're starting at -2 on A, and we're starting at -2 on C. Then it says +2. Plus means you go to the right. So right here you can see on A, it's going to the left, so that's not it. C is the only one that works. The product of two numbers is blank positive. Product means to multiply. Two negative numbers, that means a negative times a negative. Same signs, always positive. A, always positive. Simplifying these expressions. -3 plus 10. -3 plus 10. When you put those two together, it's like subtracting 3 from 10. You get 7. -1.3 minus a -3.8. Minus a negative means plus a positive. So -1.3 plus 3.8. You subtract 1.3 from 3.8 and you get 2.5. So we have 2.5 plus 7.4. You add 2 and 7, you get 9. 5 and 4, you get 9. 9.9 for number 4. The absolute value of -15 minus 20. Well, first off, you do it inside of that grouping symbol, the absolute value. You do -15 minus 20. Think of that number line. If you start off at -15 and you subtract 20 more, you're going to go that direction. So you're going to get -35, and then it's still inside that absolute value symbol. Remember, absolute value means how far away is that number from the number 0, and it is positive 35 units away. Number 6 says 1.7 minus 1.8 minus 1.47 plus 2.1 minus 4.16. So we got a lot of stuff we got to do here. 1.7, we'll just do it one part at a time. 1.7 minus 1.8 is going to be -0.1. Minus 1.47 is going to be -1.57 plus 2.1. So right here you have to subtract 2.1. 1.57 minus 2.1, and you get 0.53 minus 4.16. Which is going to give you a -3.63 is your simplified version for number 6. Number 7 says 7 times 14 plus 2 divided by 5 minus 1. Do your order of operations. Do it inside parentheses first. 14 plus 2 is 16. It's right next to 7, so it's multiplying. Divided by 5 minus 1 is 4. So you have to do your multiplication before you do your division because you work left to right. You do 7 times 16, and you get the number 112. Divided by 4, when you divide 112 by 4, you get 28 is your simplified answer. Number 9 says to evaluate -x plus -2.4 when x's value is 1.5. So what you have here is negative, and then it's 1.5 as we're plugging in for x, plus -2.4. A negative plus a negative is the same thing as a negative minus. So it's like plus and negative is the same thing as subtract. So you're going to put these two together, -1.5 and -2.4, and you get -3.9 for number 8. That's for number 8. Number 9 says evaluate the absolute value of -x minus 2y when x is 4 and y is -4. So the absolute value of negative, and then our value of x is 4, minus 2 times y, our value for y is -4. And it's the absolute value of all that. So -2 times -4 is +8. So you have -4 positive or plus 8, still the absolute value. -4 plus 8 is going to be a +4. It's the absolute value of +4. So for number 9, your simplified version, how far away is it? Is 4. That's for number 9. Number 10 says simplify 7 minus 6 using a number line. Well, if we start over at 7, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's where we begin. It says -6. Your pluses to the right, minuses to the left. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 is the correct answer. Write in algebraic expressions for each of these. The sum of b and 4. Sum means plus, so b plus 4. The product of h and 3. Product means multiply. Of h and 3, you can say h times 3 or simply 3h. 9 times the sum of g and f. So you have times, which means multiply, and sum, which means plus. So the sum of g and f. 9 times that means 9 right next to the parentheses. So 9 times g plus f. Number 14 and 15, we're writing variables and then writing the phrase, the expression representing the phrase just like the last section. -9 minus a number. Minus a number means minus x. So -9 minus x. We use a different one for this one. It says the quotient of 8 times a number and 5. Quotient means to divide. Of 8 times a number. So a number, we'll call it y this time. 8y. That means times. This means to multiply. 8 times y. And it says the quotient of that and 5. So divided by is quotient 5. 8y over 5. 16 says the total cost to rent a boat is $14 times the number of hours the boat is used. Write an equation to model the situation if C equals total cost and H equals number of hours. Total cost equals 14, it says times the number of hours. H is the number of hours, which is unknown. Here is your equation. Total cost equals 14H. Writing the fraction in simplest form, you have 10 divided by 34. Which number is the greatest common factor of both 10 and 34? Well, 10 only has so many factors, 1 times 10 and 2 times 5. There's only 4 of them. So which one of those numbers can multiply by something and go into both numbers? 34 is not divisible by 10, nor is it divisible by 5. It is, in fact, divisible by 2. So when you do that, 5 times 2 is 10, and 17 times 2 is 35. 5 over 17. Number 18 says write 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. 6 of them using an exponent. 1 to the 6th power. Then it says write 5 to the 4th power in standard form, which would mean 5 times itself 4 times. Now, there was a question on the test last week. This is standard form. This is what it's talking about. But there was a question on the test last week where you had to actually evaluate it. So if you're faced with an answer where you had to do 5 times 5 is 25, and 5 times 5 and get 25. When you multiply 25 times 25, you know you get 600. You get 625. There you go. So either one of those answers, pick the one that's most correct based on what you need. 0.07 times 6.2. So 0.07 times 6.2, not 62, but 6.2. You get 434, and you have to move the decimal once, 2, 3 times. So once, 2, 3 times. So 0.434. 2/3 plus 1/9, you have to have the same common denominator, add and subtract. 9 is the number they're both going to go into. So 3 has to multiply by 3 to get 9, so 2 has to multiply by 3 as well to get 6. 9 doesn't multiply by, it just multiplies by 1 to stay 9, so 1's going to just multiply while 1 stay just like that. Now you have a common denominator, 9, add 6 and 1 to get 7 over 9. You have to do likewise with number 22. You have to have common denominators. What's the smallest number that they both go into? They both go into the number 45. It's going to be a little bit bigger than the last problem. What do you multiply 5 by? You got to multiply by 9. So you have to multiply 4 by 9 and get 36. What do you multiply 9 by? It's by 5. You have to multiply 5 by that to get 25. Now we have a common denominator, 45. So leave that common denominator, 45, and subtract 36 minus 25 and get 11. There is no number that goes into both 11 and 45. Number 23 says 1/4 divided by 5 over 4. So you leave the first fraction, you change division to multiplication, and you multiply by the reciprocal. Remember, that's a fancy word. That means to flip it. 4 over 5. You can cross cancel, or you can just say 1 times 4 and get 4, 4 times 5 and get 20, and then the number 4 goes into both of them. It goes into itself once, and it goes into 25 times 1/5. 24, writing as a fraction in simplest form. The 2 is in the hundredths place, so this is 42 per hundred, tens place, hundredths place. So then just simplify it from there. You know the number 2 goes into both, so that makes it a little easier to see for a lot of people. 21 times there, and it goes into it 50 times there. Is there a number that goes into both of those? Just think of your factors of 21. 1 and 21, 3 and 7. None of those numbers go into the number 50, so there's your simplest form. 2.46 written as a percent. Remember, in order to make a percent, you have to move the decimal 2 places to the right. Once, twice is 246%. 1/5 written as a percent. If you wanted to say percent, then you need to multiply, you need to make the bottom number 100. So you have to multiply 5 by 20. So 1 by 20 as well. Now it says 20 per 100, which means 20 per percent, so your percentage is 20%. Or simply divide 1 by 5, and you'll get 0.2, move the decimal over 2 spots. 27 says find the perimeter. This is 6 feet, and this is 1 feet. So 6 and 6 is 12, 1 and 1 is 2, so 12 and 2 is 14 feet is your perimeter. Or 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. A car travels 370 miles in 8 hours. Find the unit rate. We're looking for R. Remember, rate is equal to distance over time, miles per hour, round to the nearest tenth. So our miles, our distance is 370. Our time, 8. 8 is our hours. So 8 hours, your rate is what we're looking for, equals 370 miles over 8 hours. When you divide 370 by 8, you get the number 46, so your rate's going to be 46.25. It says round to the nearest tenth. That means we only want 1 space after the decimals, 0.2, and that 5 tells us we have to round up to 46.3 miles per hour. 29 says evaluate u plus xy when u7, x is 6, and y is 9. So 7 plus 6 times 9. You have to do 6 times 9, the order of operations first. You get 54 plus 7 is 61. That's for number 29. Evaluate the expression ab squared when a is 2 and b is 3. A times b, 2 times 3 squared. 2 times 3 is 6 squared. 6 times 6 means 36. Number 30. And then number 31 says you can use the formula C equals 5 over 9 times F minus 32 to convert the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit F to temperature in degrees Celsius C. What is 76 degrees Fahrenheit in Celsius? Round to the nearest tenth. So C equals 5 over 9 times F minus 32. We have a value of degrees Fahrenheit. We're plugging it in or substituting it in right there. So 76, and we're going to finish the rest of it. 5 over 9 times 76 minus 32 is equal to your Celsius degrees. Do what's inside parentheses first. 76 minus 32 is going to be 44, and that's multiplied by 5 over 9. So Celsius equals 5 over 9 times 44. Remember, you're just multiplying fractions. Now you have a fraction when you put it over 1. When you multiply 5 times 44, you're going to get the number 220. 9 times 1, you're going to get 9. So when you divide 220 by 9, you're going to get 24. So your Celsius version is 24.44, and it keeps on going. It tells you to round to the nearest tenth if necessary. So again, we only want to go 1 space after the decimal. This 4 tells us we don't have to raise it up. We can leave it just like it is. So the Celsius degrees is 24.4 degrees when Fahrenheit was 76 degrees.